Ryan Garcia, a professional boxer, recently called out Jake Paul for a boxing match and vowed to end Paul's boxing career for good, claiming that he had already played a pivotal role in the early stages of Jake's career. Garcia made these remarks in an interview with Ariel Helvani, where he not only addressed his feelings towards Paul, but also gave insight into his own boxing weight class. He mentioned that 185 pounds would be the most comfortable weight for him to face Jake Paul, despite Helvani expressing disbelief at this. Garcia pointed out that he currently resides between 165 and 170 pounds, which meant that to make 185 pounds, he would have to gain weight, but he was confident he could do it. Garcia's statement about fighting at 185 pounds was met with surprise, as the weight difference between him and Jake Paul would be substantial. Helvani pressed him about this, noting the 15-20 pound gap, to which Garcia responded with a grin, humorously adding that he would need to eat a lot to reach that weight. In addition to the Jake Paul call-out, Garcia also shared that he was preparing to fight Japanese kickboxer Rukia Ono in an exhibition match in December, but he would be returning to fight at 140 or 147 pounds once his suspension is over. Garcia was frustrated with the suspension, describing it as bullcrap, yet he acknowledged that he had to accept the decision made by the New York State Commission. Jake Paul's recent opponent, Mike Tyson, has been at the center of many debates, particularly regarding his match against Paul. Many fans and analysts have questioned the legitimacy of the fight, citing Tyson's age and the fact that he appeared to let Jake Paul survive in the ring. Former UFC star Chael Sonnen defended Jake Paul, noting that Paul was always put in a tough spot with critics. According to Sonnen, Jake would have been criticized whether he knocked Tyson out or not. He explained that if Paul had knocked out Tyson, people would have said it was a low blow, but if Tyson survived, Paul would be criticized for not finishing the fight. Meanwhile, Ryan Garcia shared his own take on the fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. He believed that the outcome was expected given Tyson's age and the fact that he was past his prime. Garcia noted that Tyson's balance appeared off during the fight, and Jake Paul didn't seem to be using his full strength either. Garcia believed that the fight was a clear demonstration of Tyson's decline as a fighter due to his age. He also pointed out that Paul's boxing career has been under intense scrutiny, particularly from the traditional boxing community, who continues to question his legitimacy as a boxer. In contrast to the criticisms, Spencer Oliver praised Jake Paul for his marketing skills, acknowledging that the general public doesn't yet recognize the effort Paul has put into becoming a boxer. Oliver commented that Jake has been training hard for the past 4 years and that it takes a lot of commitment to box at a high level. While Oliver acknowledged that Jake's choice of opponents hasn't been ideal for the purists of boxing, he still recognized Jake's ability to draw attention to the sport and generate views. Despite these defenses, Simon Jordan, a sports personality, claimed that the fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson was scripted. Jordan argued that Tyson, being an experienced fighter, should have been able to land punches, but didn't. He suggested that Tyson's inability to throw punches in the early rounds when he was in range was suspicious. Jordan added that Jake Paul might have allowed Tyson to survive, which would explain why Tyson never went down despite being within striking distance. Garcia, however, was not the only one who had strong feelings about the Tyson-Paul fight. Many others in the boxing community, including analysts and former fighters, criticized Tyson for not being more aggressive in the fight. Mike Tyson's former trainer, Shannon Briggs, admitted that he felt responsible for the current state of celebrity boxing and the fight between Tyson and Paul. Briggs expressed regret over helping create the platform for these kinds of matches, saying he felt responsible for creating what he called this monster. He suggested that Tyson should have been more active in the fight and thrown more punches, implying that Tyson's passiveness allowed Jake Paul to dominate. Boxing promoter Eddie Hearn also voiced his discontent with the Tyson-Paul fight. He explained that while it was hard to watch a fighter of Tyson's caliber being beaten by a much younger fighter, he still respected Tyson's decision to take part in the match. Hearn emphasized that the fight shouldn't have been sanctioned as a professional bout, but rather as an exhibition. He pointed out that Tyson was in no shape to fight at the level required to compete with Jake Paul, adding that it was unfair to put Tyson in a position where he had no chance of winning. Ryan Garcia's comments about Jake Paul's performance and his call for a fight with him were not just personal, but were also motivated by his feelings about Jake's treatment of Mike Tyson. Garcia mentioned that he had a close connection to Tyson and referred to him as Uncle Mike, indicating the deep respect he has for the boxing legend. Garcia felt that Paul had disrespected Tyson by fighting him at his age, and he vowed to end Jake Paul's career in much the same way he intends to finish off his upcoming opponent, Rukia Ano. Garcia made it clear that he wasn't afraid to fight Paul, even if there was a significant weight difference, as he was confident in his boxing skills and ability to overcome any size disparity. Chael Sonnen's analysis of the Tyson-Paul fight highlighted the emotional aspect of the event. He described it as nostalgic, given that Tyson had once been a feared boxer who knocked out his opponents with ease. Sonnen pointed out that the emotional attachment fans had with Tyson made the fight more complicated, as it was difficult for many people to accept that Tyson could be beaten by someone like Jake Paul. While Sonnen refuted claims that the fight was scripted, he did acknowledge that the match was a difficult one for many fans to watch. Despite the controversy surrounding the fight, Jake Paul has continued to assert that the match was legitimate and that he did not hold back. He and his team have denied accusations that the fight was rigged and have insisted that Jake was using his skills and power throughout the bout. Jake Paul's manager, Nikisa Badarian, confirmed that there are plans for Jake to fight Canelo Alvarez, a Mexican boxing champion, in a sanctioned match, with no special conditions like the 2-minute rounds that were requested for Tyson's age. The fight between Jake Paul and Canelo Alvarez is being billed as a potential mega event in the world of boxing. While many fans remain skeptical about Jake Paul's legitimacy as a boxer, the planned fight with Canelo could be an opportunity for Paul to prove himself on the world stage. Despite the heavy criticism, Jake Paul's rise in the sport of boxing continues to generate both interest and controversy. While many traditional boxing fans doubt his abilities, there is no denying that he has managed to draw attention to the sport in a way few others have. Looking ahead, Garcia's call-out of Jake Paul suggests that their paths may cross in the ring in the near future. While some question whether Garcia can defeat Paul, others are eager to see how the fight would play out, especially given the bad blood between the two fighters. Garcia has been very vocal about his desire to fight Paul and end his career, and the animosity between them seems to only be growing. In the end, whether or not Jake Paul's boxing career will survive remains to be seen. While he continues to defy expectations and attract attention to the sport, many still question his abilities. For Ryan Garcia, the challenge is personal, and he is ready to take on Jake Paul to prove once and for all who the better boxer is. Whether Garcia can deliver on his promise to end Paul's career is still uncertain, but one thing is clear: the boxing world is watching closely,